Hi there. Tired of manually converting your CSV files to Excel files? Let's learn how to use the converter by Power2Apps Power Automate action in order to automatically convert CSV files to Excel files. Let's start simplifying complexity and jump right into it. As you can see, I prepared a Power Automate flow with 4 actions: a trigger, 2 SharePoint actions, and our converter by Power2Apps own convert CSV to Excel file action. I chose to manually trigger the flow, but you may as well choose to automatically trigger your flow. Maybe a machine saves a CSV file to a folder, or some colleague sends you an email with a CSV file attached. In those cases, you can either choose to trigger your flow by a file being saved to a certain folder or by receiving an email with a CSV file. After manually triggering the flow, I used the get file content using SharePoint action in order to retrieve a CSV which is saved to our SharePoint folder structure. Let's take a look into that. So I've created this folder inside our SharePoint structure, and inside this folder I have saved this CSV file. I have to use the get file content using path action in order for us to use the content of the CSV file in our convert CSV to Excel file action. We need to do that because we need to retrieve the content of the CSV files. I chose the get file content using path action since the CSV is saved to our SharePoint structure. We use the convert CSV to Excel file action and have certain parameters for us to automatically detect the CSV structure and convert it into a correct Excel file. In total, we have 8 parameters, and I chose to show you all of them for demonstrative purposes. But before we get into the action, let's take a quick look into the CSV file. So the CSV file looks like this. The CSV basically starts at line 6. In addition, we do see there are some blank lines as well. So we do know our CSV has headers. Like we have seen in the file, our CSV certainly has headers in line 6. We also can choose to auto-detect the field types, which I chose to do. In addition to that action, we can choose how many rows will be used to detect the field type. I chose to use 20. In addition to that, I have realized that there are empty rows in my CSV file, so I chose to remove empty rows since they do not make any sense in our CSV file. Plus, we can choose to skip a number of rows. And since we know that our CSV basically starts in line 6, I'm going to choose to skip 5 rows. Further, we could also choose to stop at a specific row, which in our case is not useful. Hence, we are going to convert all the rows by just leaving this parameter blank. Very importantly, we could choose a separator, but it's also very useful to use the auto-detect separator option. Lastly, there might be some text added to your CSV file, and it might be marked in quotation delimiters. So let's see how that might look like. So maybe someone typed text into our CSV file and added quotation marks. Maybe we don't want to have them in our Excel file. So we can automatically detect those quotation delimiters and do not display them if not wished. Lastly, I save the converted file. So our action uses the input which we have gotten by using the get file content using path action. Our action converts this input into an Excel file, and now we need to create a file with that output as an Excel file. And since I want to save it into SharePoint again, I use the create file action. I entered as file content the response from our convert CSV to Excel file action. I chose to give it the same name, but obviously I use the XLSX ending in order to indicate the Excel file. Let's test our flow. We have now created our Excel file. Let's take a quick look into it. So you can see that the first rows of our CSV file have been skipped and the correct line has been chosen to be the header of our Excel file. In addition to that, our blank rows are deleted and the quotation marks are not displayed rightfully. We now have a well-formatted Excel file in order to use for analysis or to distribute. And it was no magic, it was the converter by Power2Apps.